might just change the way you see leadership forever. Not the kind shaped in boardrooms or polished in power suits, but the kind forged in silence, in scars, in songs whispered between generations. Today we step into the firelight of stories often untold, of women and men who were overlooked, underestimated, unheard, and yet they rose. We'll travel from forgotten borderlands to overcrowded cities, where voices echo against systems not built to hold them, and yet those voices carved futures not just for themselves, but for all of us. These are not tales of luck. They are blueprints for resilience, maps for ethical disruption, and proof that brilliance does not belong to the few, but burns in the margins, waiting to be seen. So take a breath, set aside what you think power looks like, because today we explore how marginalized leaders don't just overcome adversity, they alchemize it into justice, empathy, and change. This is this is Praxis, this is Nexus, and this is how a better world begins. If something stirred in you today, if a story sparked clarity, or a voice echoed your own hidden strength, don't let it fade. Subscribe not just to a channel, but to a movement. Share this with someone navigating silence, burnout, or self-doubt. Be the thread that weaves another back into their purpose. Because this isn't just content, it's community, it's curriculum for the soul. We are building futures rooted in emotional wisdom, powered by intelligent action, and elevated through sustainable leadership. This is your invitation to Praxis, and Nexus. To learn, to lead, to rise. Our first story begins not in a boardroom or on a grand stage, but in a modest community centre where resilience was planted like a seed. Meet Maria, a quiet force in a loud world. She didn't wait for permission to lead. She used what she had, her voice, her pain, her purpose, to ignite change where others saw only limits. In a society that told her to stay small, Maria chose to rise. Not just for herself, but for every woman silenced, every neighbor unseen, every solution waiting for the right question. This is not just her journey, it's a map for all of us. A path that begins with self-awareness, powered by emotional intelligence, amplified by AI insight, and sustained through bold, human-centered strategy. So lean in, because Maria's voice echoes far beyond her village. It calls to the vanguard in you. Despite facing numerous obstacles, she stood firm and inspired others to follow her lead. Next, we step into the story of Jamal, a story not written in textbooks, but carved into the margins of every system that told him, "You don't belong here." Jamal didn't just attend school, he challenged what education meant. In a classroom where his name was mispronounced and his questions dismissed, he stayed, not out of defiance, but out of vision. He built bridges where there were walls. He asked the questions no one dared. And one day, he didn't just pass the test. He rewrote the syllabus. From after-school tutoring circles to national education reform panels, Jamal turned his pain into praxis. His journey reminds us that the greatest reformers are not always invited in. They break in with grace and grit. This is not just about overcoming, this is about reimagining. Reimagining classrooms that honor every dialect, every neurotype, every heritage. Reimagining leadership that doesn't just teach, but listens, lifts, and liberates. Jamal's journey is a masterclass in what inclusive education truly means. And if you've ever felt unseen in spaces that claim to be for all, his story is yours too. His dedication and resilience prove that passion and intelligence can overcome societal limits. Finally, we arrive at the story of Chloe, a force of vision rooted in soil, resilience, and rebellion. In a remote valley often forgotten by policy and progress, Chloe saw not scarcity, but potential. With bare hands and borrowed seeds, she stood at the edge of failing crops and rising doubt. Where others saw drought and decay, she dared to ask, what if tradition and innovation could grow together? Armed with ancestral knowledge and AI-powered soil sensors, she didn't just plant, she pioneered. She fused permaculture with predictive data. She mapped rainfall with satellite imagery and redesigned irrigation through open-source hydrology tools. But her greatest harvest wasn't food, it was dignity. Local farmers, once dependent on foreign aid, became mentors, innovators, change makers in their own right. Chloe's mission wasn't just agricultural, it was existential. She proved that sustainability isn't a Western export, it's a living language spoken by those who listen to the land. In her words, we didn't wait for help to come, we became the help we needed. Against every odd, she sowed a revolution, one rooted in harmony, equity, and quiet genius. Stay with us, because Chloe's journey is a blueprint for the future of food, sovereignty, and self-determination, setting new standards for sustainable practices. 1. Before we lead, we must learn to listen to the whispers within. Emotional intelligence begins not in the boardroom, but in the body, in the breath, in the break between reaction and response. So pause. When frustration rises, don't suppress it, study it. When joy visits, don't rush past, anchor it. Your emotions are not weaknesses, they are signals, compasses. Each one, anger, sorrow, anticipation, carries a message, and when we listen, we gain access to the hidden architecture of connection. The leader who cannot name their own fear will recreate it in others. The colleague who dismisses their shame will pass it on like wildfire. But the emotionally intelligent leader? They turn self-awareness into self-mastery. They transform anxiety into strategy. As Daniel Goleman said, emotional self-awareness is the building block of the next fundamental emotional intelligence, self-regulation. And here's the truth. Before you can shift a culture, you must shift your own chemistry. Name what you feel, understand where it lands, notice how it affects those around you. That's not weakness, that's power, quiet, grounded, unstoppable power. Emotional intelligence isn't about being nice. It's about being clear, about cultivating presence, about showing up as the whole, awake, responsible human this era demands. 2. No leader thrives alone. In the silence between milestones and setbacks, what truly sustains us is connection. Social intelligence isn't just networking, it's the ancient art of knowing who to lean on, when to lift others, and how to co-create a future none of us could birth alone. It is about reading the room, yes, but more than that, it's about feeling the pulse of the people in it. It's knowing how to navigate complexity with clarity and disagreement with dignity. Harvard research spanning 75 years, the Harvard study of adult development, shows this one truth. The quality of our relationships determines the quality of our lives. In personal circles, this means cultivating chosen families, those rare souls who reflect your values and hold you accountable to your becoming. In professional spheres, it means surrounding yourself with multipliers, collaborators who challenge you, allies who mirror your potential, mentors who remember your name in rooms you've never entered. Build a support constellation, not a hierarchy. Make space for reciprocity, celebration, and radical belonging. True social intelligence is not charisma, it's care with consequence. Don't just build a network, weave a net that can catch you when purpose feels heavy, because no idea, however brilliant, survives in isolation. But together we spark revolutions, rewrite norms, and rise in resonance. 3. In every challenge lies a coded opportunity, if we know where and how to look. This is where AIQ, artificial intelligence quotient, becomes not just a skill set, but a superpower. It's not about automating life, it's about illuminating life, using machines to mine meaning from chaos, pattern from pain, clarity from complexity. As Kai-Fu Lee, AI pioneer, reminds us, AI will increasingly free us from routine and empower us to be more human. Imagine using AI not as a replacement for thought, but as a scaffold for strategy. Faced with burnout, use emotional AI apps like Replica or Wysa to decode your emotional triggers and regain balance. Facing economic uncertainty, feed your business data into tools like H2O.ai or Runway ML and spot unseen market pivots before the storm hits. Dealing with social division, employ machine learning to identify emotional language trends across regions and tailor your messaging with precision empathy. AIQ is not coding fluency, it's interpretive fluency. It's the ability to translate life into language machines can process and use that processing to bring more life back into our hands. When wielded with EQ and purpose, AI becomes a compass, not a controller, a signal booster for our deepest human values. Let every challenge be a dataset. Let your wisdom be the algorithm. Let the output be legacy. That is AIQ for the vanguard. 4. Burnout doesn't come suddenly. It arrives in whispers, in skipped meals, silenced emotions, in the slow erosion of you. That's why self-care isn't indulgence. It's strategy. Think of it not as a bubble bath, but as a battle tactic, a radical reclaiming of your energy, focus, and emotional sovereignty. Neuroscience confirms it. When you invest in rest, movement, and reflection, you unlock executive function, creativity, and empathy, the very traits that sustain visionary leadership. In the words of Dr. Thema Bryant, president of the American Psychological Association, you can't heal the world while ignoring your own wounds. Self-care is your personal infrastructure. It's your ability to stay calm in chaos, to breathe when the world holds its breath. Whether it's a daily walk, journaling with an AI mood tracker like Yupa, or simply protecting your boundaries with the precision of a surgeon, you are reinforcing the foundation of your purpose. Resilience isn't brute force, it's ritual. It's the decision every day to treat your mind and body not as tools, but as temples. So pause, nourish. Because when you show up whole, you don't just lead, you transform. And that transformation ripples outward from you into family, into teams, into systems. 5. Learn from others' wisdom to illuminate your path. No one builds a legacy alone. Every visionary stood once in the shadow of a guide, a whisperer, a mentor. Mentorship is not about hierarchy, it's a circle, a lineage of insight passed like flame from torch to torch. Research from the Harvard Business Review shows that those with strong mentor relationships are 130% more likely to hold leadership roles, not just because they know more, but because they feel seen, validated, and challenged. A mentor doesn't pave your way, they reveal the map already within you. In 2021, Dr. Tererai Trent, UN Women's Champion for Global Education, spoke of mentorship as the ancestral bridge between survival and significance. Mentorship teaches us that every wound can become a wisdom, that lived experience is a curriculum. Whether it's a professor, a coach, a community elder, or an AI-powered app like Coach Hub or Pushva, the right guide won't just help you climb, they'll teach you why you climb. And when you're ready, you become the bridge for others. So seek mentorship not out of weakness, but in reverence to growth. Let their stories carve paths through your uncertainty. Let their mistakes become your safety net. And when the time comes, share your map forward. Because mentorship isn't just guidance, it's transmission. And together, we are building a new topography of collective ascent. You're empowering yourself and others to stand strong against marginalization and harassment. Don't forget to subscribe for more empowering content, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's make this journey go viral.